So do you have a problem with the methodology and the tools used? And if you can scrolling up in the chat is too much of a fucking burden for you,
no worries. Someone tagged it. How do you know this is a portion of great circle if you haven't figured out that, like, if this is to prove that the Earth is a globe?
Larry, can someone mute him?
No, he's unmuted.
Oh.
No, I was just I all right. Do you think you could find a technical flaw with it? And all you said was dunno.
No, I said, how are you saying this is a portion of great circle if you haven't yet proven, if this is to prove that it's a great circle? Isn't that circular logic? Great circular logic?
No, because if they were not on a great circle, then it would return even smaller radius. The 3962-mile radius of return is a maximum.
Okay, so to rephrase your question properly, you're saying you measured these things in a straight line, and you found that they could only be, they only could work on an arc, on a curved surface.
No. If those were three random points, it would return a shorter radius, but it returned the academic radius, which is a maximum. Any error I made in that alignment would have returned ever smaller radii. So the fact that I replicated textbook, repeatable science, objective, independent, repeatable science, I don't know.
Yeah,
so you don't have technical.
So you don't have video of you doing these measurements?
No, I do
you
not.
Have it, folks. Did I not say earlier that they would only trust measurements if they were put in the form of YouTube videos? I think I did also put in there about flat earthers having to do it.
I got a question.
Even YouTube videos are suspect if they're cut and shit.
My question then is: do you use any textbooks, or do you only use videos?
How did you measure the distances between Hagerstown?
He asked you a question percentage. You don't get to respond to a question with another question.
What was the question?
How do you not use any textbook, or are all your information returned from video?
The only things I believe to be true are the stuff that I experienced for myself, either in person or ideally in person, and if not, with evidence, a wealth of actual evidence.
So you're an empiricist.
By actual evidence, yeah, I mean like video, verifiable video or photos that I can rely on.
So in one word,
words,
nothing.
In a paper, numbers on a paper, they don't hold much weight. They're just a reassertion of the claim.
It's good that you're an atheist.
That's so strange because those numbers can be tested, whereas those videos and pictures can easily be manipulated. Well, you have to read their methodology to see to try to replicate the measurements.
No, that's a shifting of the burden of proof fallacy.
No, it's not a shifting of the burden of proof.
You're saying you have tests now. I want to do tests on video.
You have to understand the methodology in science. The way it works is I do an experiment, and then from that experiment I get a result, and then I can draw a conclusion from that result, or I can eliminate other probabilities from the result. And then other scientists, they can say, I call bullshit. And then they repeat that experiment, and they either get the same result or they get different results. And that's how they know it's testable and repeatable. So this method is very important to, doing measurements.
Absolutely.
And if you don't follow that method...
I absolutely agree. So how about you show us the test, and don't worry about my understanding.
That's
on me. Whether I understand or not, it's fine.
That is not our fucking job.
Yes, it is.
Video
you guys make the claim.
No, it's not. The method has been given to you, and the results have been given to you. Karen, you don't get to go, well, you're not doing it the way I want to do it. That's not how science works.
No, science works.
It is not incumbent upon science.
Science works by providing the evidence
science.
for your shit. You can't just claim I did a scientific experiment when you didn't do anything. That's not intellectually honest. Okay.
And the way you call bullshit on that is to reproduce the experiment.
You keep on over-talking.
I'm not spiraling. You're
being an
you're
idiot.
stuck in this.
I'm
You've got
letting
this
you-
impossible standard.
Bro, I'm letting you speak and grandstand and say your bullshit, but you could at least afford me the same.
Percentage. That's not how you say bullshit. All you're doing is saying nuh-uh. There's a difference between saying bullshit and saying nuh-uh.
You grandstanded a lot about the scientific method, and I absolutely agree with you and the scientific method. I absolutely agree with that. But you mentioned that there's
Okay, so you agree that science is under no obligation to film itself doing science for your benefit?
No, scientists are under that obligation.
The question still
And
stands.
science itself is under no obligation to film itself doing experiments for your
That's absolutely
on your
asinine.
behalf.
I don't even know why
The
you would
question-
say something so nonsensical. The scientist, the
question-
one conducting the experiment, should record it. Okay? For posterity.
So you are requiring. So you're saying now that it is a requirement of scientists to film themselves when doing any experiment.
Ideally, now in
No,
almost 2022,
that's not how it
should be
works.
filmed.
What you
Yeah.
said.
No, that's not how it
what you
fucking
said. I'm asking you, is it a requirement?
Ideally, they should have film. They should
It's
not
not
necessarily
an
film.
answer.
They
Is
should
it
have
a requirement?
recording of what they're doing.
Doctors
No.
do it.
Yes or no?
teachers
Is it
do
a
the police
requirement?
do
Is
it.
are scientists required to film themselves doing an experiment?
For any positive claim that they have that's contested, I do believe the burden of proof should be recorded.
It is in a scientific paper, according to the rules.
It is.
No.
That is
I mean,
not an
recorded,
answer.
I meant, like,
I'm
you know, by
saying
video recording.
specifically
No, there's
film.
no requirement for video recording. It would be boring. Most science is extremely boring. You would be extremely bored.
Not
Percentage,
specifically
what-
film
Yes,
because
you
we're
would.
moving away from
Percentage.
analog.
What science do you have that's videotaped? Give me some experiment that's been done that's videotaped without
He thinks
touch.
that
There's
that
one.
YouTube is science, and it's not. When you have
Oh,
idiot.
Tell me one experiment.
You're saying
What
YouTube
I-
doesn't have any scientific experiments? Shut the
That's
fuck
correct.
up.
What I'm
Show
hearing-
me one. Show me one
The
that's
way-
videotaped.
What I'm hearing, he has no technical issue with it. He just thinks it's a question of legitimacy.
Exactly.
So what is the technical flaw with it if it were true?
Then we're just talking hypotheticals.
Oh, you idiot! You're being a total
That's
complete
all
asshole.
we discuss. Whenever we discuss
No,
the
we can
flat
talk
Earth,
about
we're
something
discussing
hypothetically.
hypotheticals.
I have no
Was there no
problem talking
was there
about
no science
hypotheticals.
done before YouTube? Was there no science done before YouTube?
There
Oh
was
no,
in person.
no.
What about before video cameras? Was
Yeah.
there science then?
How about
There
before
was.
cameras?
There's always science. Everyone, like on their day to day, is doing science. Whether they
No,
know it
there's-
or not. A
there's-
lot
there's
of times
science
we don't
and
even
there's
know
real
it
science.
when doing
But
science.
we're talking about experiments though. So let's just clarify
like
here.
A cook,
Were experiments
using a
done
different
before
spice.
VHS tapes were invented?
Listen, a cook using a different spice and seeing what it tastes like. That's science. Okay?
Oh,
No,
bullshit,
we,
no.
we do
But it's
science
not
on a
science
day
for
to
you.
day.
Scientific experiment.
It's not science for you.
The
percentage,
issue
because
is when
it's
you're
not been
claiming
videotaped.
something, okay, and you have to prove it. You have a positive claim.
But you have no
You could have done the
video,
science
of course.
100%. But if you have nothing to show for it, then it doesn't count. Okay?
You do
So it's
have
not
something to
science.
show for
You
it.
have the results,
data.
you moron. You have the fucking
Numbers-
results.
Numbers don't mean that you did a scientific
But the
experiment.
numbers
Just
are-
numbers.
Usually they do,
I claim I
actually.
did a scientific experiment and it's not verifiable.
Actually, they
Need
do.
further
Percentage.
evidence.
Then
You
you
just
then
said-
redo the experiment. There's no requirement to be videotaped. This is bullshit. You're making shit up. You're even worse
Yeah,
than
percentage.
QE.
I'm saying
you
it's almost
just said that-
2022. It should be recorded.
No, there's no requirement. You would be bored stiff if you saw scientists
If you're
working.
claiming it, listen, if you're claiming it as a fact and you're trying to,
It's
tell
put down
people
in
this
scientific
shit, then you
papers
should
and
have
in the
evidence.
literature.
definitive,
The science- no,
verifiable
that's not how science
evidence.
works,
And the
sir.
most definitive evidence
Percentage.
short of experiencing it yourself in person is having uncut,
No,
credible
that's
video.
not how it works.
Yeah,
man.
Jesus.
That's not how
Jesus.
science works. Most science is done in
I'm
data
saying
these days.
You don't have the critical ability to judge whether or not a sufficiently advanced technology can fool you visually with a video. There's no way
That's
that
not
you
all
have
they
the
would
technical training to do that. So and the common man especially does.
that's fallacious.
So if you're saying that the best way to convince people is with video of that thing, then again, I would have to trot out Defense Exhibit A, which was blind people. No, it's not an ad hom. I'm bringing up the fact
you don't
that
know
you are arguing.
You have no idea.
Your argument is that visual evidence is the second best evidence to firsthand experience.
Credible visual evidence? Yeah, it's the second best.
And what's better than that? My counter argument is there is no way you would be able to determine whether or not a sufficiently advanced technology was able to fake a video. And the common man definitely would not. And a blind man would have an even more difficult time with it because he'd just have to take your fucking word for it as you describe the events of that video.
So two things. Number one, I disagree. And number two, I also included the word credible.
I disagree is not an argument. Why do you disagree?
I already said credible. That means that it is verifiable, that it's accurate. Okay? If you want to disagree on my usage of the word credible and pretend that I didn't say it, that's fine.
The next thing you would do is say that all this video
is what is more reliable than seeing a video, an uncut, credible video of something, short of being there in person. What's more reliable?
Right, but you keep throwing that editorial credible part in there.
Answer the question.
See, that gives you.
The next thing you would do is hand wave that.
That gives you an immediate out. That gives you an immediate out whenever that video evidence is presented to you.
What's more reliable,
and
bro?
then you
guys are having an issue with video evidence. What's more reliable?
We have live video from we have live video from space percentage.
You have live video from space. No video.
It's an impossible standard is all I'm trying to point out to you.
Yeah, what about all the video from space percentage?
There's 2 hour uncut videos. There's 2 hour uncut videos from the ISS.
Okay, prove it.
Prove it exactly. From the ISS. So you have video now. Now you have video, and you still say it's not good enough.
Prove it.
No,
prove the video.
That video. I'm not saying it's not a real video. Okay, but prove it's from the ISS.
Sure.
Oh, there you go. So it's not now you hand wave that. So you move the goalpost once again. So now goalpost.
You guys just keep on cherry picking some of my words, hoping to catch me off guard.
No, you're not cherry picking your words. You're cherry picking yourself,
that means that where we know it's coming from what it's coming from.
Now it's going to be credible. Now it's going to be verifiable video of people doing
verifiable video, uncut, live streamed, ideally, all that jazz. Yeah.
All this points out.
Then you would hand wave that and move the goalpost again.
More reliable than that video.
All it shows to me is that video evidence is not a reliable source of evidence. Therefore, the second best form of evidence should go back to firsthand experience. And if you want to firsthand experience this experiment,
should be firsthand experience.
The second best evidence is you doing the experiment yourself, because you weren't there the first time the experiment was done, so you can't have first-hand experience. So you technically have to have second-hand experience, even though it's you doing it, to redo the experiment. I know, right? But anyway, you get my point.
You don't have to you don't have to be there for the first time it was ever done. You're proving the claim for yourself. If you're doing it in person, that's firsthand.
Okay. Well, everybody's definition is different. So you weren't there the first time the experiment was done.
Person.
Okay, that's fine. So then in that case, getting a book with the step-by-step process of how to do it, how we did it, how it was done, what measurements we got, what data we recorded. No, it's not a shifting of the burden.
Yes, it is. It's your claim.
It's
so you show us the
it's your best. No, sir. I'm trying to point out that it's your best source of evidence.
If I want,
you said it yourself.
Show us your evidence, and then if I want to, peer review it, if I want to check it, I could do it for myself.
Well, you're not a peer, so you can't really peer review it.
Before I go on this wild
It's in the journals. It's in the journals. You don't need to videotape it. Besides, all the videotape in space, you hand wave that away. So what's to prevent you from hand waving away all this other stuff?
Anything in a journal is just a reassertion of the claim.
That's
I don't trust words on paper.
Oh, you don't trust words on paper, but if you had it on video, that would be the same thing on video. That would be good, right?
Yes, if it's credible, uncut video.
Uncut video. Do you realize how long scientific experiments take?
I want it to be immersive, like I'm there in person.
Start the video and be there for like a year.
Do the experiment yourself. That's the only way to be there in person.
I want, short of me doing it myself, I want it to be.
I'm sorry, Karen, and nobody's going to hand it to you on a fucking plate. That is not science's job.
Listen, we're reconciling the chasm between
second-hand between you and your
people who do real work and lazy people like yourself who just practice sophistry.
once we have virtual reality or whatever,
You've got video from space, and you
like
hand wave that
live
away.
videos, and we
You've
could
got
basically
fucking
be
video
there
from the
in
ISS,
person
and you hand wave
with
that
VR.
percentage.
That would be even better.
Percentage.
The 360
You hand wave away all
cameras
the
that we have
video.
on some YouTube videos, even better.
Short of you just doing the work yourself, doing the experiment yourself, you want a
Shifting
very
the burden of proof
complex
fallacy.
VR. Hold on, is not a shifting of the burden of proof fallacy.
I'll do it
The
myself
evidence
once
has
I've
been
seen that it's
provided.
done
The
credibly.
evidence has been provided to you. You want to verify it for yourself
It hasn't
firsthand.
been provided.
Which
That's the
is
whole
the
point
best
conversation.
form of evidence,
It hasn't been
right? I'm taking your logic, right, and I'm extrapolating from there. So if the best form of evidence is firsthand experience,
Don't
we're just going to
extrapolate when
ignore.
you haven't even interpolated properly. Okay.
Okay, so
There's
I'm
no evidence yet. The evidence has not been presented.
I'm taking your claim, sir. So I don't have to interpolate because you're right here with me.
Right,
Did
don't
you or
interpolate,
did
but
you not
interpret.
say? Well, did you or did you not say that the best form of evidence is first-hand experience?
100%.
Did you or did you not?
100%.
Okay, so the only way, short of you participating in the original experiment, to get first-hand experience is to do what?
The only way to do what?
Jesus Christ. Do you, what is the only way for you to have first-hand experience short of you being there for the original experiment?
There's no other way. Oh, original experiment. It doesn't matter the original. It's just you testing it for
What is
yourself.
the only way for you to have first-hand knowledge, first-hand experience
By doing
without yourself being there for
By
the
doing
original
it.
experiment?
Simple as that. By doing
Okay,
it.
great.
Next question.
So if the best form of evidence is first-hand experience, and the only way, short of being there for the original experiment, is to do the experiment yourself, why would you rely?
Shifting of the burden of proof fallacy.
Hold on, why? No, it's not shifting of the burden of proof fallacy.
Yes, it is.
Why would you accept? Why
I'm
would
outta
you
here.
accept
Fuck off.
any other form of evidence than the best form of evidence? Why would
Because
you ignore that?
I would accept second-hand evidence, right? Or like
I'm
not
not
being there in
asking
person.
you what else would you
If
accept. I'm
it is
asking you
a credible
why you would accept anything other than first-hand experience.
Because it's about confidence levels, okay? So the highest confidence level, no doubt, is being there in person, right?
Right. And don't you
Second-
want to have confidence in your
hold up,
beliefs? Don't
hold
you
up.
want to know?
People
Don't you want to
have-
know as many true things as
I'm
possible?
not finished. So there's confidence levels, right? And people have different thresholds for what they consider verifiable, definitive evidence beyond reasonable doubt.
Sure.
That
And is
confidence
doing
level
the
has to be met.
experiment yourself
Okay, listen,
not
I'm
the
not
best
done.
way to gain first-hand
I'm almost
knowledge
done.
of the process?
Definitely doing it is the highest confidence level, and it's the best
Yes.
way of
So
ascertaining
why
it for
wouldn't you
truth.
want the highest confidence level?
But I also hold
Why wouldn't you
credible
want the highest
videos,
confidence level?
uncut videos that are, ideally the more immersive, the more like
But you
resolution.
can never
the better.
be you can
That's
never
a
be
high enough
as
confidence
confident
level
in that video
that, for
being
me,
the
it's
raw
a-
footage as you would doing the experiment yourself. Why would you
Of course,
accept a lower level of confidence?
I would accept a lower level of confidence if it's someone else's claim and they're substantiating it beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, if I want to verify it more,
Right,
and
but
get it-
how do
get
you
it to
how do you
extra
how do
few
you
kind of
establish
percentages
beyond a
to-
reasonable doubt when you're not already convinced?
I already told you, okay? Videos that are credible, uncut, they fulfill the requirements, are above the threshold at which I consider them definitive evidence beyond reasonable doubt. So they
Right,
meet the
but I mean
confidence level.
that is a subjective opinion-based
Of course it is.
methodology.
Of
Right.
course it is. Everyone
so
has a
wouldn't,
different
wouldn't you
threshold
want to
for what's
eliminate as much
definitive
of your
evidence.
bias as humanly possible and just do the experiment yourself and gain first-hand knowledge?
No, if I have a
and the
confidence
highest level of confidence?
if I have a confidence level that is such that I consider it definitive evidence beyond reasonable doubt, I wouldn't need to do that. And secondly, you're
Look,
straying
on a
way too
scale of,
close.
on a scale of 1 to
Listen,
100,
it's a
on a
slippery
scale of 1 to
slope.
100,
Wait, it's a slippery
I
slope.
know, and I'm trying to avoid that slippery slope
to a burden of proof,
empirical.
reversal.
You said earlier you agreed when I said, "Oh, so you're an empiricist," and you said yes.
Of course I am.
Is that not true?
No, that's definitely true.
Well, then how can you claim to be an empiricist and not want to verify things with your own eyes, hands, your own senses.
It's not that I don't want to. Again, this is a slippery slope to shifting
No,
the
it's
burden.
not a slippery
It's
slope.
I don't want to go.
A slippery slope fallacy
I'll tell you.
is not that at all.
Listen.
That's about incremental changes that lead to large changes.
Yeah,
that's
and
what
the
the slippery
incremental
slope
change here
fallacy
is that you're trying to make it seem like it's not a big deal if I validate it for myself or whatever, but that leads to a slippery slope.
That is not
change.
Sir.
Hold up,
you literally just twisted what I said.
It leads
so
to
it could
huge
maybe
change.
sort of fit the definition of the slippery slope fallacy. What I said was why wouldn't you want to have the highest level of confidence in something by gaining firsthand knowledge, and that's the best form of evidence?
Okay, and
why wouldn't you want that?
And that is the incremental thing. That's how you phrase it, right?
It's not incremental. That is very black.
I let you talk. You interrupt way too much. You need to afford the same courtesy. That's the incremental thing, right? But then it leads to this huge step, and this is why it's a slippery slope, that I have to verify it. I go on a wild goose hunt for any claims that I contest that are not substantiated. It's absolutely illogical. That's why the positive claim has the burden of proof. That's why the rules of logic are so.
The experiment has been done. The measurements have been made.
Where's the evidence?
That book, that was one of the links that Larry provided earlier. He also provided another set of measurements.
I saw numbers on paper and a drawing.
Those are called measurements. When I take a ruler and I want to measure my bedroom, I start in one corner and then I go to the other corner and I measure, and then I do that all around the room, and then I add up the square footage. That's how a measurement works.
Yeah, and I wouldn't contend, I wouldn't contend you measuring your room like that. I wouldn't care to see the burden of proof.
That's an analogy.
I know.
What I'm saying is, your requirement for that to be a valid measurement is for me to film myself doing it instead of what I would do if I was taking those measurements.
No,
I'd note it down on a piece of paper.
Bro, that's a non-starter because, again, I would not contend that you measured your room. That's not an extraordinary claim. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, okay?
Well, that extraordinary evidence has been provided.
Listen,
and you look at it and you go, these are just numbers on paper. So that tells me that you do not have the ability to read those measurements, to understand that data, which is not
that's your takeaway, then.
Burden. That's not the burden. The burden at that point is on you to learn how to read it. Right? If you say, show me in the Bible in the original Greek that Jesus said that.
Okay, so,
and I'd say, okay, and I'd trot out the original Greek, and you go, well, I don't read Greek, so I'm going to need you to translate it for me.
Okay, so again, you're being fallacious. That's a straw man
and it's an ad hominem. I'm making an analogy.
Hold up. It's a straw man and an ad hominem. You're saying because you don't understand it.
It's not an ad hominem because I didn't say
stop. Okay, when you say you don't understand it, that's an ad hominem, and then you're saying because you don't understand it, it's blah blah blah. That's a straw man. You're being way too fallacious right now. Okay.
Would you like a straw man and an ad hom? And an analogy would be when snipers record their shots in their dope books. What's your dope book like percentage?
Don't worry about it.
Have you figured out what one is yet?
An ad hominem fallacy is for me saying you're wrong because you're a Jew and Jews stink or something awful like that, right? It's not because your
you're
argument
saying I'm wrong
is
because I don't understand the numbers.
But that's not an insult. That's not an ad hominem. That's an observation. How is that an insult?
You said I couldn't read numbers, bro.
Yes, I don't think you can read the data.
Yeah, and I'm telling you I can, and that's an ad hominem and a straw man.
Out several times that you haven't given a technical objection to any of the data. You haven't looked at those numbers and go, these numbers don't add up. This should form a die 20. You haven't done that. You just dismissed it by saying they're numbers on paper.
Damon, let me nip this in the bud, okay? If you see numbers on paper and you're convinced it's evidence, then that's on you. That's yours. Like you take that and run with it. All right? I'm different. All right?
But those are measurements, though, man. That's no different from me.
How do you know they're actual measurements?
And handing you a piece of paper.
How do you know they're actual measurements?
Well, you have to test. You have to test.
That's a shifting of the burden of proof fallacy.
No, it's not.
Lord, aren't you a theist?
The only way for you to gain firsthand knowledge, the only way for you to know with certainty is to test, man.
Okay,
you admitted that.
No, you need to look into burden of proof. All right, that's your homework for tonight.
Dude, trust me, I'm 43 years old and I've been arguing philosophy for 30 years. I know what the burden of.
And there's no hope for you.
For one thing, your misuse of fallacy showed me that you have no background in philosophy
That's a fallacy
whatsoever.
Right there.
It's not a fallacy. What fallacy did I make in assuming because you made a fallacy, one fallacy, your argument is wrong? Did I say that? Because that's what a fallacy is.
Exactly
There's another misuse of a fallacy.
It was another ad hoc.
I committed a straw man fallacy earlier because I didn't build up a weak argument with the.
You're saying because I'm fallacious in my understanding of fallacies that my argument is incorrect.
That is not what I said. I said you were wrong about you misuse fallacies.
I was wrong about misusing them, so I was right about using them.
That's an observation.
Right, hold up. If I was wrong about misusing them, that means I was right about using them. So, lawyered.
You were wrong in the fact that you used fallacies incorrectly. You did the fallacy, which is you were a dick, and you know that because of that you were wrong. That's an ad hoc. If you need me to teach you what these fallacies are, I'll be glad to. But anyway, your logic is such that you've established this hierarchy of evidence, convincing evidence, but then you avoid the evidence that would actually confirm it one way or another.
I don't avoid the evidence at all. I'm waiting for the evidence.
The evidence has been provided.
Threshold might be reached or met with words and numbers on paper. They're not for me.
No.
I'll respect your decision to consider that methodology. But for most people, most skeptically minded, critically minded, analytically minded people would say, no, numbers on paper are not evidence. They're reassertions of the claim.
So let me ask you a question. If I sent you a cake recipe, right, and those were just numbers on paper, the ratio of flour to sugar and butter and cream.
Extraordinary claims, extraordinary evidence. That's not something I would contend.
There's still numbers on paper, bro.
Why would someone
There's
contend
still
that?
numbers on paper, bro. I mean, I'm sorry that you feel like that in addition to the cake recipe,
let's go with your analogy. Let's run with your analogy.
Need a video.
No, go ahead. Explain your analogy.
Sure. Okay. So those measurements also include a recipe. And all the shit you need, the cake pans and, the temperature of the oven and how long you need to do it for. And so you can experiment with that. You can take all the quantities that I gave you and you can leave out a little flour, you can leave out a little sugar, and you can experiment with that to see if you get the same results that I do, right? And that's firsthand knowledge. That's firsthand experience. You don't have to take my word for it. Like, I could have made that cake out of bullshit and then filmed it and made it look like I'm the ace of fucking cakes. But in reality, I had some other guy come in and finish it all up for me. So you might not get the same results that I do if you take my recipe and numbers that I sent you. You could test it out and go, man, that's bullshit. This thing is cardboard.
All right,
this is styrofoam.
All right, so you're saying the numbers and words on paper regarding baking a cake is evidence of a recipe, or is it evidence of the cake?
Oh, fuck off, Chemo.
Jesus.
Percentage.
I tell you, it's the entire process, man. It's the fact that you can test the process and see if you get the same results. You can test whether or not I'm a liar or not. You can test for your own confidence level, right?
So let's say you had this recipe of a cake, right? And
you don't have to explain it again. Did you miss what I just said? I just
have these words and numbers on paper, right? And you're saying that you made a city-sized cake. Okay? Now, am I just gonna make that recipe with it's calling for fucking 50 kilograms of flour and blah blah? And am I gonna make the recipe so that I can believe that you made a city-sized cake, or would it just be better to show me the city-sized cake?
Oh, then you would just hand wave and say that the video is fake, like you do from space.
Optical illusion. One of your friends or family member wasn't there to see me film this, to verify, with eyewitness testimony.
Proof. It's simple as that. Do it as credible as you can when you're recording yourself.
But then you sit there and you still hand wave away videos. Percentage.
Better yet, just invite people to eat it.
Percentage. You hand wave away video from space
you can have the cake and eat it too.
Fucking ape. You just move the fucking goalpost whenever you fucking want to.
That's all you do, and that's why I keep coming back to firsthand experiential knowledge. If you're a true empiricist, if you truly believe that,
no, he's not though. He's just a
I understand, and that's why I framed it the way I did. That's why I said if you're a true empiricist, you won't accept anything but firsthand knowledge, firsthand experiences. So it seems to me, what's that?
That's not true.
That's not true that an empiricist doesn't trust anything but firsthand experience?
Yeah, it's not true.
Oh, okay. I apologize for my errors. Then break down what are the tenets of empiricism?
You could be an empiricist and appreciate firsthand knowledge, and you could also rely on very credible, recording of said firsthand knowledge.
Cite the empiricist school of thought that says that.
No, hold up. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying
I'm not getting it twisted. I want to know your source for this esoteric knowledge on philosophy that I lack.
Empiricism is looking at something, experiencing it out of your own observation, right? You could observe something super credible, and it's almost as if you were there in person, and it
show me the empiricist school that says that. I'd like to hear about them.
I'm saying it. I'm the school, and you're the
well. Then you're no authority on anything. You've not demonstrated.
I'm an authority. I'm definitely an authority of what I consider
any proficiency with logic, and you haven't demonstrated any proficiency with logical fallacies. That's not an ad-hom, sir. That's not
true, and it's not a good defense
You're
to your argument.
Liar.
The truth is, I am the alpha and the omega. I am, where the buck stops in terms of what I consider is verifiable, definitive evidence beyond reasonable doubt.
Well, I mean, you're not the arbiter of reality. I'm sorry. Okay. Fire hot owl is an empirical fact, right?
All that matters. I'm the be-all, end-all.
Well, then that's just narcissism. I mean, fine, okay, whatever.
It's just recognizing that something
if you're the be-all, end-all, then you should be doing these experiments and advancing science. It sounds like to me. Why the fuck are you wasting time in here?
You're not being logical. You're expecting everyone to just shift the burden of proof for any claims they contend to themselves.
That's not how empiricism works, sir. Learn your philosophy.
Voluntary shifting of the burden of proof.
That's not how empiricism works, sir.
And it's asinine.
Okay, for one thing, let's use correct terms here for a second. Okay, it's called burden of justification, not burden of proof.
Burden of proof.
But see, the problem with using that term in philosophical discussions is that it's often conflated with the American criminal court version of burden of proof. And in that
the context is quite clear. If you're getting confused, that's on you.
Well, I want your understanding of burden of proof, right? What is your understanding of what a burden of proof is?
It's the burden that's on the person making the positive claim to substantiate that what they're saying is true.
No, that's not actually true. The burden of proof or burden of justification is simply that you must rationally justify your position. That's it. You have to give a rational.
Substantiate?
Sir?
No, not just by rationale.
You don't have. There's nothing in justification about substantiating.
Well, again, I said burden of proof. I'm not taking whatever your fucking butchered definition of burden of justification.
You don't understand philosophy, and you're conflating.
We're talking about real life, bro.
Well, there is no burden of proof in the real life.
We don't want some fucking bullshit hypothetical models. We want
burden of proof in philosophy. So you show me where there's a burden of proof in real life.
There's a burden of proof whenever someone makes a positive claim that's contended.
That's not true.
That is true.
That is not true. That is only true in court and in philosophy. So if we're having a legal discussion, then there's a burden of proof. And if we're having a philosophical conversation, there is a burden of justification.
Are we
we having a legal discussion or are we having a philosophical
discussion? It doesn't matter.
discussion?
You don't have to like categorize.
It does matter.
It applies in
does
any
matter.
intellectual
What
discourse.
category
If you're
of
intellectually
conversation
honest,
would you put this conversation in?
It doesn't
What category
matter.
would you put it in?
it doesn't
Yes,
matter.
it does.
Why do you have to label it?
Yeah, you asked him.
It does, because I will not allow you to misuse terms.
Allow it, fam.
If we're going,
Nah, you asked him to clarify his term, no name. And now you're petitioning him again.
But see, what he's doing is he's taking the burden of proof concept from U.S. court.
I got you. You're both mostly right.
Listen,
can we slow it down? Listen, please.
Go ahead, Don.
Slow it down. Okay.
Sorry,
Right.
I get a little excited when I'm having philosophical conversations.
I want to see you ask him his reason. He gave kind of a reason, and then he gave a particular word about substantiate. Then
substantiate.
Right, calm down. Slow it down. I want to talk a little bit, just a little. And then you said to him something about, well, I don't have to do that. It's a rational. You went to a rational word, but the thing is, remember, you
because
were just
in a burden of proof,
side.
Because
okay.
Well, no, there is no working with someone on these terms. You cannot conflate. The reason why it's important to you to break this down, okay, not to be pedantic, but in the U.S. legal system, the burden of proof.
Matter.
We got you. We know the conflation.
I'll tell you why it doesn't matter if you stop interrupting.
I want to eliminate the conflation. Let me tell you why it doesn't matter. I will not allow the use of the law code burden of proof
I'm sorry,
in the philosophical conversation, because those are two different things.
Again, Damon, it doesn't matter, and I'm going to tell you why.
My name is not Damien. I don't know where you're getting that
Calm down for a second, okay? I'll tell you why. All right?
No name.
Because listen, the burden of proof is required anytime someone makes a positive claim, right? And that claim is contended within the realms. Listen, within the realms of intellectual discourse.
In philosophy.
It doesn't matter if it's philosophy, science, STEM, anything. Within the realms of intellectual discourse.
Well, those are schools of philosophy, because science comes from natural philosophy. So if we're having that discourse, you need to use precise terms, and that's why I asked, because you're obviously misunderstanding what burden of proof is.
That's the definition.
What's that?
Take it or leave it. Now, are you going to be intellectually honest? That's the question. Are you going to be intellectually honest or not?
But that's not the So when you keep using it as if somebody is committing some kind of offense, but it's only in your opinion that it is in fact an offense. Like, it's not. Nobody's committing a foul. Nobody's committing a fallacy. You just don't understand or you don't like it. So then that's what you do. You shout out burden of proof shifting. No,
you're committing like
burden of proof. Burden of proof. Burden of proof shifting. Okay, I'm going to ignore any of your fallacy claims because you don't know what they fucking mean. But anyway, what you're doing is you're trying to conflate two terms to win a talking point, to win a point, an argument, right? So you can't do that.
I think he's just trying to communicate with you, No Name. He's just trying to tell you what he feels. It's just words that he's... checkpoints, qualifying, like it is now percentage. But listen, I love your point about subjective and objective.
Then I will redefine the fallacy to mean anything I don't like that Pope Central says. And if he says something I don't like, I'm just going to yell out fallacy.
You are being a little more technical. I get it to you. And percentage, I am interested in. You are taking the position, percentage, that this is a not a subjective thing. This is like an objective thing. I mean, I'm feeling both of y'all.
Hold up. Objectively, burden of proof is like a thing, you know? In the realms of intellectual discourse, someone that makes a positive claim that's contended has to substantiate that claim.
And nobody's arguing against that.
Otherwise, they're being intellectually honest by continuously propagating that claim, reasserting the claim as if it's true when they haven't substantiated it.
Real quick. Percent. See when you said that you sniped, you said you did it for fun, right?
Somebody's real low. I can't hear whoever.
You just did it for fun, right? Why is it then when you said that you sniped, you said you were on the front line?
I didn't say that, but nice try.
You fucking did say that. You absolutely
all right, if you say so.
That. You said that because I listened to the video earlier today.
All right. So this is a tangent, and I encourage you to listen to the video again and try to hear where I said I was literally on the front line when I fired a sniper rifle. when I myself.
Yeah, I do want them to have.
Right, cool. Thanks, man.
Right, guys, listen,
you were on the front
I think
line, but you did it for fun.
No, I was not on the front line when I fired.
You said you were on the front line. I listened
to the video again. Listen to the video again.
I did.
And apologize when you listen to it. Come back and apologize.
But how will you know if he did?
No,
I've listened to the video a couple times. I've had a couple conversations with you and proved beyond a reasonable doubt that you have no idea what snipers do. You have no idea what a dope book is, for Christ's sake.
That's fine.
He
has no video of him being a sniper, so he's not a sniper. It's unsubstantiated claim.
Who keeps the dope book, bro? Is it the sniper or the spotter?
It is kept by the sniper. It is specific to every weapon he fires.
Yeah, but who fills it in?
Don't you know this? This is fucking day one class stuff. Why don't you know this?
Because I'm not a sniper.
The shooter. It's the shooter's book.
Because I'm not a sniper? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I'm not a sniper.
Yeah.
I've
oh
sniped.
my fucking god, dude! This is like
sniper rifle, but I'm not a sniper.
Stuff.
What gave you guys that idea?
Did you receive
maybe you guys need to listen to the video again as well.
You received modified training, but they never bothered to go over a dope book with you?
Who said I received modified training?
I did.
You did.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I just said that.
Fantastic. Glad we cleared that up. Now we could get back to it, Damon.
Percentage, can I use your logic with you in the Black Swan?
Sure.
You said.
Is that evident?
Hold up.
Go on, Chris.
Your words were.
I mean, I'm sorry, guys. If I was monopolizing back then, I apologize. I'm sorry. I get a little carried away with the philosophy talk. I'll mute myself now.
Your words were. I was on the front line.
I think everybody
snipers.
realizes
you're fine.
What a po.
You need to mute yourself, man.
Well, I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm loud.
It's pretty fishy that you won't tell us which military you served in, though.
Yeah, here's percent proudly saying the caliber of his.
We know if he's one of a million service members.
But can I use? Would you say that Black Swan is evidence for the flat Earth percentage?
No.
Why not?
I would say it's because it doesn't have refraction data along the optical corridor.
Okay. Then I'm blind then. I was just wondering if you use the same logic with all your claims, that I can contend those claims, and then when you say that you can do it yourself, I can just scream burden of approval, remove shifting fallacy in all your claims.
Okay, but I didn't do that, right?
Yeah, sure. So you have no claims of anything ever.
No, my claims are those that are backed up by observable reality. The horizon is observably flat. The Earth is observably motionless.
Is it? What's your evidence for Earth being flat or the horizon being flat?
My observations.
So basically, in his opinion.
No.
Would you say that I have to go?
Everything else. I mean, he's the alpha and omega. He admitted earlier that he is the source. He's the end all and be all when it comes to knowledge.
When it comes to my truth, yeah, of course. When it comes to what I
not
consider...
objective reality. Are you not the arbiter of objective reality too?
It is an objective reality for me.
But you said that the horizon is objectively and factually flat. But do you have refraction numbers to go with that horizon?
No, it looked flat, and then at one point I had lifted up. It was a 30-centimeter wooden ruler, and just as a straight edge, and it looked flat still.
Sure. Okay, so did you have refraction counted in?
No.
Okay, so it's not evidence.
No, listen, because straight lines in the horizon, the horizon isn't victim to refraction. Side to side. Remember, I'm talking side to side.
No, it's okay. You just can't back up your claim, so it's all good. You can go with Chris.
If you say so.
Yeah, because you can't say to me that I should go and look for the horizon, because that would be shifting the burden of proof reversal fallacy. So.
I mean, you would agree that at the shore you see a flat horizon. So,
So you said in the video, you said,
extraordinary claim. Go ahead.
This is super. This is
Yeah,
so interesting. But on the video, you said, I was on the front line with snipers.
That's true.
Right? Right. What were you doing on the front line with a sniper? What do you mean, don't worry about it? No, I'm worried about it. That's what we want to find out, right?
I was not.
You weren't sniping.
I wasn't.
You were
doing target
what?
practice for fun at the front.
What were
in
you
the front
doing?
line, though.
What were you doing?
I was doing front line stuff.
You were on the front line with a sniper, not sniping.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds really plausible to me.
If you say so.
In what capacity were you on the front line with a sniper?
Don't worry about it.
Why are you doing this? Kilo Scott, it's not about
all
me.
you need to know.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Chris.
Don't worry
Listen,
about it.
All you need to know for this line of questioning.
This is what I want to know.
I'm not.
You don't need to know.
A sniper. I just sniped. Okay. And 2, that when I did snipe, when I did my target practice or what have you, it wasn't in the front line.
All right, that's
how far away were the targets?
What's that?
How far away were the targets?
I don't know, to be honest. There were reflective targets in the distance.
You don't even know the range of your target.
They would have been
Yeah,
like 1 click, maybe 1.5 clicks away. I'm not sure.
Of course, it matters.
Chris,
so, were you on the front line before or after medical school?
Don't worry about it.
you found a girlfriend yet, Chris?
No, not quite.
Did you figure out how your weapon was able to hit
He used his trigger
targets
finger
over
to pull a
twice
gun. You
its
use your finger
positive
to swipe
range?
the screen, Chris.
What fucking skank have you ensnared lately?
Why do
Apparently,
you
the
care?
burden of proof doesn't apply to military service, does it?
No, that's been addressed. So that was said in
So, Kimo, you believe that Mercedes was on. You believe that he was. You believe he was on the front line? Or was this? Do you believe he was on the front line before or after medical school, Kimo?
What does it matter?
That's actually a false dichotomy.
Because we just get done. We just get done. You just get done talking about people making claims have to back them up. He's made claims.
Yeah, but that's about
Chris,
him.
that's a false dichotomy fallacy.
How is that a false dichotomy fallacy?
You said before or after med school. Med school, it could have been during med school.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, you were on the front line during med school.
During med school, yeah.
It could have been that I didn't go to med school.
Was this
Well, I guess that would consider.
That's very modified sniper training right there.
Hold up. So
the last one was
this Chad on his day out. I mean, what the fuck?
Listen, it could have been that I didn't go to med school, right? And
that's the truth. You never went to med school. You never went to combat either.
Technically, it would be incorrect to say it's before med school, because before med school would be saying that I would still be going to med school, even though I hadn't been going to med school, So it gets tricky.
Well, technically, my whole life has been before med school because I haven't gone to med school yet. So technically, it's still before med school for you, too.
That's strong, man.
Like, you could change your mind tomorrow and go to med school, man.
I didn't say I didn't go to med school.
That is not a straw man.
Because I didn't say I didn't go to med school.
Did not commit a straw man fallacy. Learn fucking fallacies, man. You sound like an idiot.
Like I said, I didn't go to med school. I didn't say that I didn't go to med school.
I didn't say that either.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I said I have not
doing
gone to medical school yet, and so technically my whole life has been before medical school.
Yes.
You could decide to go to medical school tomorrow, so your whole life could be before medical school. I was actually backing you up.
That's not how it works, though.
But that's not a straw man.
It is because.
Did you?
What if I had?
Why are you getting caught up in what's a straw man and what's not? I mean,
bro, what if I had?
This is him evading.
No, listen.
Fucking issue.
No, hold up. Bear with me. So what if I had gone to medical school? Am I going to go again? Exactly.
You could. You could be a dual class neurosurgeon cardiologist. Or hell, man, like, look, you're a young guy. I bet you could be like triple class. You might be able to be a neurologist, cardiologist, oncologist, for all I know.
I'm not quite there.
I would be committing an ad hominem fallacy if I questioned your intelligence, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you would.
No. He's questioning your intelligence.
It's absolutely irrational to question my intelligence. Everyone knows it's
no,
not.
it is rational to question your intelligence because you definitely show you have very little of it.
It's been demonstrated.
Way to just take exactly what I said
What a
and then
tangled
reverse
web
it.
we
What is this,
weave
second grade?
when we set out to deceive.
I would say that he's probably
how it
a
goes?
cranial
Something like
proctologist because he has his head so far up
Ooh.
his ass.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Personally, I always wanted to be a gynecologist, but I'm a man of simple taste. So
I have a friend who is one of those, and no, you don't want to be. No, it's not
I've
good.
heard that, but I've also heard you don't want to be a bouncer at a titty bar, and I was a bouncer at a titty bar, and tell you what, I never got tired of titties. So I'm just saying, everybody's wired different.
Yeah, but those titties aren't diseased and,
Have you ever? You've obviously never met a stripper, sir. I mean, come on. I had this one bitch. She was like 58, still dancing. We called her Xena because she looked like Xena Warrior Princess, but her stage name was China because she thought she looked more like China, the wrestler. Really, she just looked like a tranny. It's what she was. I mean, no offense to trannies or anything. She just looked like Conan with tits, right? So you've obviously never met.
Was this? I was an ISIS bride until they found out I was a dude. What the fuck was that?
That's someone doctoring something I said and making like some fake thing.
Damn, I can't hear anybody.
I don't know if it was Gary or Altissimo or someone that had no life decided to Photoshop.
Wait, I'll search that shit. I was.
Oh.
Darius does a good job of at least not.
Funny as fuck.
Propagating. He propagates the first two, the ones that were actually said.
The ones that were actually what? Oh, you said, right.
Yeah,
but are not true.
No, they are true.
Are 1 and 2 true?
Yes.
You're more than a medic. What's more than a medic?
Think about it.
No, you tell me.
A medic to me.
You tell me.
Nah.
What do you mean, nah?
I don't need to.
You are so full of shit, Percentage. I am a combat veteran, U.S. Army medic, and I'll tell anybody who will listen. I'll tell people who won't listen about it. And you're sitting here with people asking you for your war stories, and you won't talk about it? You're so full of shit,
Consider
dude.
the context.
Oh, that's right. Because you were with ISIS because you're a fucking poser bitch.
No. Because I'm talking to a room of fucking, antagonistic people. In real life, I have no problem.
Why don't we step into a private room? You and I will.
Yo, the people
you and I will talk about it.
Know about my service, all right?
Oh, yeah, because it wasn't real. It was kind of like your med school. Just never happened, right?
No, they know that it's real, bro.
No. Actually, we all know that it wasn't real.
Give me
one city you
No, you're
served
free to believe what you...
It's not about percent.
It's not about me.
Like, cool. I was in Baghdad. I was in Tikrit. I was in Mosul. I was in Bakuba. Those were the main cities I was based out of. Where were you based out of?
Terrible pronunciation. How long were you there?
2.5 years.
It's not. I mean, he asked you a
not
question.
Long enough to learn how to pronounce the word properly.
Cool. Don't give a shit. I was there.
What cities did you serve in?
Don't worry about it.
But it's okay for you to ask him how long he served over there after he offered the information, but it's not okay for you to respond in kind.
No,
we're not the ones on trial.
I was making a joke. I don't care how long he was there for. I was making a joke that he couldn't pronounce the city names properly. And secondly, it's not a fair world, okay?
Percent. Where is the posterior aspect of the lateral tibial plateau located?
What's that?
Where is the posterior aspect of the lateral tibial plateau located?
You have to be more specific.
That is extremely... You can't get more specific than that.
No, you'd have to be more specific.
No, that is extremely specific. That is like... as specific as you can possibly get.
Are you talking about
whereabouts
right or left lower limb? It matters.
It doesn't matter.
It does. How do you expect
it doesn't matter.
Do you want me to just give you some Cartesian coordinates? You'd have to be more specific with the question.
It doesn't matter.
Because you said where it was, and you're asking where it was, which is kind of stupid.
It doesn't matter if you don't know what it means.
Just tell us where it is.
You guys are coping hard.
Just tell us where it's
percentage.
located.
What's the maximum effective range of a 5.56 round?
The lower limb, left or right, it depends. All right?
It doesn't.
Because it does. It's going to be
doesn't.
equal distance from the median, but it's still going to depend because lateral means that it's just on sides. So the left one will be mirror image to the right one. You understand that now, right?
It will still be the same, but
because he's only gotten through the
It'd be the
first
same but
paragraph
different.
on
You're asking where. You'd have to be more
Right.
specific. Again, do you mean left or right? And you'd have to like kind of
Right.
say
Right.
where it is relative to other
right.
things.
Right.
Ridiculous, man.
But it doesn't matter.
You're asking silly questions, Chris.
Yeah, but when we ask for things like maps, we don't get those either. So why not ask silly questions?
Well, he's a medic, right? So.
Yeah, nothing to do with you, right? Exactly.
What do you mean, Chemo?
Sorry?
What did you mean? Nothing to do with us?
His personal life.
Had nothing to do with you, Kimo. Are you going to tell people
Actually,
how to talk now?
When he
always tells
uses it
people how to
as
talk.
justification for his point and uses the inherent knowledge gained by the training, it does become pertinent to the conversation. And that was exactly what he was doing in the clip.
They can ask
When he
her,
was
but it's nothing
asserting
to do with it.
Coriolis effect doesn't work for snipers.
They can ask,
And
doesn't
they're-
mean they're going to
it's
get
not
an answer.
taught.
Yeah, Coriolis is bullshit. It's just an optical effect.
Yeah, I mean, so you say, but you also say that you hit a target almost twice the distance for that your round's capable of traveling. So, the round that you figured out
are
what
you
kind of
lying
round
about?
you used yet?
What are you talking about? Are you just
Yeah, the-
comprehending again?
AK-103B. Have you figured out what caliber it shoots
I didn't
yet?
snipe with an AK, bro.
Okay, your primary service weapon, which you claim was an AK-103B. What caliber is it? 102.
The
Thank you.
caliber
Sorry.
for that specific gun is apparently 5.56.
Yeah,
What is
because
the
he
maximum
said it was-
effective range of a 5.56?
I don't know.
This is what he
I
said.
just
Is there a
have
question about it?
5.56.
7.62
Yeah, I had a
millimeter.
7.7. I had
Oh,
7.62.
metal jacket.
Yeah.
They're so desperate
Don't
to
think
just
it
try
was
and discredit
for
it.
the-
Chris, you did pique my curiosity. Why did you mention lateral tibial plateau? Was that just like a random thing, or do you actually
Yeah,
have an
just a
issue with
random
your?
thing.
He does it all the time
Okay,
to
no.
No, it was
engineers,
just,
electricians.
just a random thing. Just a random thing to see if you knew, in like layman's terms, where it was located. But it doesn't matter if it's left or right.
I mean, I
It
guess you
does.
want what you want. They were
How
also
do you expect me to answer? I could say to the left of your knee or to the right of your knee, depending on your leg.
Well,
it
now you've
matters,
had
for
time to
instance.
fucking look it up, right?
Yeah, but
No,
he did ask you to
every-
be more detailed.
Yeah.
Most
more
people that
specific.
aren't in med school or doctors
couldn't
know
get-
what a tibia is. Okay?
You couldn't
They know
get
what lateral
more
means. They
detailed
know what
than
a
that.
plateau means. They could put one and one together.
Which bone
Right,
is
you-
next
you
to the
took a- You
tibia?
took a sweet time over it.
Fibula. Man, fuck this shit.
Tibby and Fibby.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not about me, guys.
They are in love with you, percent.
I know, they just want to try and get him. Not the way, Chris. If you want to get percent, provide globe evidence.
Fuck that.
If you want to get me, wine and dine me.
Fuck that.
Definitely fuck that.
Cameron's a big boy, doesn't need your help.
We all need a little dose of chemotherapy every now and then.
They percentage and no name were getting pretty philosophical, man, and then just whatever. Everyone wants to do what they want to do. But I wanted to ask, how did it go yesterday with Kosho's GPS thing or whatever? Any globe evidence there?
I think it proved that the Earth was flat. This globe software that's flat maps wrapped around a globe computer software image or whatever. I think it suffers from the software fallacy. The software being programmed for a globe irrespective of reality.
Huh.
Sometimes wish people didn't know what fallacy is.
Well, fallacies are key to figure out whether or not you're making a misstep in your thinking.
That's not what I mean. You're able to just make up a fallacy by just saying a word and then putting fallacy behind it, then you sort of like completely miss the point.
Well, take the fallacy of what, if anything, level is. We're trying to determine whether we're on a flat plane or a curve. We're trying to distinguish between those two. But you use a metric that doesn't allow any sort of distinction. That's a fallacy if you're saying that sea level is curving around the ball. We're trying to differentiate between a flat level and a curved one. So that's fallacious.
My point again.
You're working against your own thinking at that point, and it's self-defeating.
Not a fallacy. You don't know what fallacies are.
It's a fallacy if you say that you're trying to make a distinction and you use a metric that makes a distinction impossible.
It's not a fallacy. That is a mistake in logic, perhaps, but it's not a fallacy.
That is called begging the question.
No, it is not. You don't understand begging the question when you say that.
Prove that sea level is a curve that goes around a ball. Otherwise, that doesn't help us at all.
The curve is measured and proven, and you know it.
Measurement.
Do you still think drinking MMS is a good thing?
By the testimonials, you can believe the corrupt medical establishment if you wish. Your liver will be toxified by synthetic drugs, and eventually you will die a slow death. But that's up to you.
Would you drink MMS?
I have drunken MMS, and I'm fine.
God.
I probably inactivated it by combining it with apple juice, but it is what it is. I was fine. I was using a dropper and 2 droppers of the stuff per drink.
You're not fine. You chlorinated your brain.
What did you drink it for?
I was just trying to see if it could help me out with some fungal issues, if you will.
Chlorine dioxide? You fucking drink chlorine dioxide? Are you fucking crazy?
They say you're supposed to just drink it with water, but it's so strong. I tried to mix it with apple juice, but they say that can inactivate it.
Oh my fucking god.
Did it help with your fungal issue there, Lemon?
It didn't really help. I got a bit more help with onions.
That's amazing, isn't it? You would think a medicine that is capable of curing autism and AIDS. You think it would have no problem with a fungal issue, wouldn't you? But
well, some people said it helped them with their athlete's foot, so I was like, maybe I'll try it. But I guess
it helps with athlete's foot if you put it on the outside of your foot.
No, you're supposed to drink it. You're supposed to work up with 5 drops, 10 drops. You're supposed to work up to the point where your body can tolerate up to a dropper of the stuff and combine it with water.
Fucking sodium chloride, you idiot.
It's a pretty bad thing to be
dioxide, sodium chloride
to begin with, but whatever.
Sodium chloride is table salt. Chlorine dioxide is
not chloride, chlorite. There's a big difference between those two.
Sodium hypochlorite, that's bleach. Chlorine
sodium
dioxide
chlorite. Sodium chlorite. NaClO2, not sodium chloride, not sodium hypochlorite, sodium chlorate. These are all
you're talking about the bleach that you bleach your clothes in.
Right, that's sodium hyperchlorate, NaHCl. This is sodium chloride, NaClO2. Different stuff.
Chlorine, sodium hypochlorite is bleach that you put your clothes in. Chlorine dioxide is the stuff that people say they're taking to help them with their issues. Fungus.
No, you idiot. This MMS stuff is sodium hypochlorite with an acid.
Bacteria, stuff like that.
But it didn't help you though, right?
It didn't really help me, but like I said, for the third freaking time, inactivated it by combining it with apple juice.
Is that even possible though? Like chemically, is it possible to fucking neutralize bleach with apple juice? I have my doubts.
When you make the chlorine dioxide MMS, it's a process where you combine like a lemon with something to basically activate it. It has an activating process of some sort.
Ah, nice.
Sodium
That's why people,
hypochlorite is a toxic chemical that causes acute kidney failure if ingested.
yet again, we're talking about two different things. You're talking about the bleach for your clothes, sodium
Nope, this is sodium
hypochlorite.
Nope, it's not sodium
MMS is
hypochlorite, moron.
chlorine
This is sodium
dioxide.
Nope, that's not this either. We're talking about sodium chlorite, which is the stuff in MMS. Toxic.
No,
acute,
MMS
yes,
is
we are.
chlorine dioxide. When you activate it properly, the product that you need to get is chlorine dioxide.
Right, because
you need to activate it properly and in the right proportions.
Oh, I see. So
For fuck's sake.
What do you think happens when you drink this bleach?
Bruh.
Kills parasites, bacteria, fungus, all that according to the testimonials, and it helps with malaria.
Malaria?
Yeah, they were
malaria.
In Africa.
I'm sure you had malaria when you took it.
I've never had malaria, as far as I can tell.
No shit.
But they were doing malaria in Africa.
Because if you drink sufficient enough quantities, you die, and therefore you can't get ill.
That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about death. We're talking about getting rid of the malarial blood parasite with MMS.
Why wouldn't you just take hydroxychloroquine for it then?
Hydroxychloroquine? There's ivermectin as well. Ivermectin is also highly effective, but they're trying to push new drugs with the coronavirus sham. So they're trying to push fear and intimidation on the people. Take our new expensive drug and forget about the stuff that already works, like hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin.
So we got a
very
green light
effective against parasites. So you use them against parasites.
Are you listening, Jim?
Yep, MMS is for use against parasites, and autism patients have guts that are racked and full of parasites.
What?
So that's why they want to use it.
What?
Yeah.
So you drink bleach. Is it working because it's very alkaline, or what's the plan?
So for the fourth time, since you guys aren't listening and aren't prepared to listen, bleach that you use on your clothes is sodium hypochlorite. So we'll say that again, sodium hypochlorite. MMS is chlorine dioxide.
No, idiot. Chlorine dioxide is a gas.
Formula. I'll probably have to say it for the fifth time since you don't want to listen.
Yeah, I've looked it up.
Chlorine dioxide is a gas. Get off it.
Testimony from Robin Jiff, a parent of a who was full of parasites that the mother cleaned her son of and studied and put under the microscope. All that stuff. I'm pretty sure YouTube scrubbed it just like they scrubbed the channel back.
Do you have scientific paper on that, or just some YouTube video?
You're not prepared to listen anyway, so here's the video and try to open your mind.
Here's the video.
Okay?
How about the scientific paper? How about the scientific paper?
Oh, he dipped.
And can you all please give either the appropriate information on this, or can you please shut him up or move to a different room that's not broadcast? I mean, for fuck's sake, he's telling people to drink bleach.
Chemo, are you here?
I've just returned.
This has got to be out. This has got to be outside the rules.
I've just come back.
To be honest, he was being debunked live.
What is the problem?
I don't know, Lemon was shilling for miracle mineral supplement.
Yeah, Dr. Lemon was here telling people to drink bleach.
Mentioning other off-limits type shit.
Ah, right. Well, you're here. You could...
I didn't know. Apparently, Dr. Lemon told me that. I didn't know that autism was caused by parasites.
Fucking overruled by you?
I wasn't here, was I?
Fucking micromanager of the century?
If I wasn't here, was I?
Yeah, becoming a little Hitler, Chemo. What the fuck, man?
That's why I asked you.
Well, the German people were having the best time between 1920 1940.
So now you're going to push the envelope.
Seriously doubt that.
Joke.
Was it a joke when you wrote fire for faggots, burn them with the Jews?
That was you, Chris.
That's not true, Chemo.
That's vile of you, Chemo.
You.
Yes,
Hey,
just
Chemo,
like
did you
we
get
saw
a
with
chance
percent,
to?
you're looking for ways to knock down, discredit flat earthers. Bear with percent. Now, obviously, you're trying with me, Chris. We know your games, your tactics.
He's muted and deafened, so I'll take that as a victory.
Okay. Just like you were like, oh, look at Spurs. He's in the video all swearing, being abusive, blah blah blah. Turns out it's not me. So the idea, I understand, is
right,
to
but
shut
that's
down the flat earthers.
You know, that was open. This is not open to
and
interpretation.
discredit
Right? This
the
is
flat
fucking
earthers.
black and white.
So nobody listens to the flat earthers. That's not going to happen.
And saying that I manufactured it is fucking hilarious because it was around ages before I came around. Like,
you guys were out on the case trying to discredit the flat earthers from day one.
You know, it was checked.
Yeah, like I say, you guys I've got a habit
how long
of focusing
shall
on
the pigs
the top flat earthers in order to
taste
shut
in
them
the
down.
line of Judah?
So they whine about the software being programmed for a globe for GPS. Of course, that's so that it will work. Why don't you go ahead and program it for a flat Earth and see why you can't?
No, the idea is that you guys have to model the flat Earth. Stop asking us to model something.
Oh, stop asking you to actually prove your claim and model and have a model. No,
That's
have
such
us do it.
Cowardly act, Chemo.
No, it's putting you in your place by saying, by asking us, you're going to get no model.
No, it's not.
You want a model, and you board Earthers need to get together.
Who was the guy who was talking about reversing? Who was the guy who was talking about the reversing of the burden of proof? Talking about reversing the burden of proof. You want us to prove your claim.
No, you're flat Earth.
Yes, you
You're
do.
not on a
You
board.
want us to claim. You want us to prove your claim by giving you a model.
No, it's not my claim. You see the flat Earth.
It is your claim.
You observe
I do not see the flat Earth.
Well, hold on. We have done that, Chemo. We have provided you with models.
Flat Earth model.
Flat Earth models. I can. Two that jump into my mind right away. You love the Walter Bislin model that says in there that light has to do impossible things. That's a flat Earth model made by a glober that doesn't work in reality. The other one is
the space pizza.
The space pizza, the Eratosthenes.
Problem.
It was it Sly's video where he mapped it all out and then drew the lines up to where the sun would have to be. Sorry, I think it was Sly Sparkane who made that video, but I can't
what's
remember.
the issue? You said there's a model. Now what's the problem?
Yeah, but the issue is the models don't work. When we try to make models for you, they don't work.
Go and see the Wizard of Oz, get a brain, and figure out how to model the Earth.
Oh, we have, and it doesn't work on a flat Earth. There's no way that you can model the flat Earth.
That doesn't.
There's no way that you can model the flat Earth. It does not work, Chemo. Does not fucking work.
Well, then make it work.
It doesn't work. You can't make it work because it doesn't fucking work. No way.
Well, then you need to get an education.
No, what you need to do is you need to realize that your fantasy, your religion of the flat Earth doesn't work. You need to conform to reality and come over to the globe side because that.
Why do we need to make it work?
Yeah, why do we need to make? That's exactly it, Bro Blue. Why do we need to make their stupid model that doesn't work?
You observe a flat plane with Polaris.
No, I do not observe a flat plane. I really don't.
So Chemo here and he's going to tell us all about Globe One.
Why would I do that?
Why would what? Not on us to make a model. It's on to you guys to fix the model.
It's on you to make a model. It's on you to make a model of the flat Earth.
No, it's on you to fix the globe model and make it comport with
reality. The globe model does not need fixing. The globe model explains everything.
Your model says you have a vacuum next to gas pressure.
Oh, shut up with the vacuum next to gas pressure, you moron.
Your model says you have gas without a container. That doesn't work.
Blue, give it to him. Blue, give it to him, please. I can't take him.
That
It
doesn't
has
work.
never said that, Chemo.
What?
You guys can say that over and over again, but our model has never said there's gas pressure next to a vacuum.
Well, you got gas pressure without a container. That's impossible.
Now you're changing the argument.
And now you change the argument exactly.
Our model
Will the lies ever end?
Never said we
Ever.
have gas
They're
pressure
three
next to a
in
vacuum,
one,
ever.
which can be intertwined at
really
any
have
given
to answer
time.
ask that?
We've got vacuum without a container, gas pressure without a container, and then gas pressure next to a vacuum. So we can interchange between any of those three and say none of them work. You see?
No, they all work
We
because
can
you don't
start with
understand
the vacuum without the container. We can start with gas pressure next to the container, or we can start with gas pressure without the container. It doesn't
Don't
matter.
need a container. Don't need a container. You don't have to have a container. Where do you get that from?
You need a force.
Yes, you need a force. It's called gravity.
Yeah,
You
we
have
got a
that
force.
force.
Called gravity.
Gravity.
I got a force called gravity. I've shown it to you.
Now you just make up stuff. Fix the model.
Demonstrated it to you time and time
What do you
again.
mean Blue proved
Hundreds of
it?
hours of videos out there that I have made, live streams that show mass attracting mass. That's a force.
What's percentage used demanding videos? Percentage used demanding videos. You proved gravity with videos.
Seth has
Did you watch
deafened
them?
himself. The blue, it wasn't in a vacuum, so therefore it's invalid.
No,
Bullshit.
it doesn't have to be in a vacuum. Well, if you want to see it in a vacuum, you can see it. Look up at the fucking moon. There you go.
Somebody put chemo in a fucking vacuum, for fuck's sake.
With an astronaut suit. Yeah, let's test that out. Let's check it out. Let's see if it works. You don't mean without the astronaut suit.
Go for it.
You need to get some new material, Chemo.
Astronaut suit.
Chemo, you need to get some new material. This comedy act of yours is getting old.
Well,
hasn't found new material in 6 years. What makes you think he's going to find it now?
That's
true. I'm
this
sorry.
Is where the,
I guess I'm asking too much.
The top level, the top class is. This is where you have to reach this level to become considered. You know, you're not prepared. If you're not hitting ball earthers with black swan and gas pressure, then there's something wrong with you as a flat earther.
Yeah, those have all been disproven, but that's good. Keep coming with the same old shit.
No, actually, Chemo did have a new line. That whole thing with it's up to the Globe Department to make a flat Earth for him.
Not for me.
That's new.
Yeah, but that's not for me. It's for you. You keep asking us for a model, right?
But Chemo, we've already made one. It doesn't work. The globe works. The globe works. That's what matters. Is that the globe works?
Okay, what?
It comports perfectly.
How?
Works. Everything you can notice, the globe explains.
How do you have a gas pressure without a container then?
Gravity.
That's
Yeah.
in the model gravity, not in the real world.
Next.
In the real world, it's gravity.
Okay, demonstrate it then.
Okay, he did.
We have.
Yeah, there's videos on it. Blue did
The vertical pressure
hundreds of hours of
gradient is
videos.
a demonstration that gravity
All right, look,
exists.
we can go around in a circle in a minute. I'll be back in a minute.
I also noticed nobody had a technical issue with my measurements of three distances that return a radius. No technical issue whatsoever. They just said, nah, I don't know. No video.
Well, see, Blue actually has video, and they ignore that too. So I mean, it's a goalpost moving thing. If you don't have video, they say you have video. If you have video, they hand wave it away. I mean, what about the hundreds of hours of video from space?
What about the centuries of accumulated data, which is documented in textbooks? So apparently, percent doesn't have or rely on any textbook ever, and he means he has only been a video education. Yeah, I believe that for a second.
I actually got told the other day that you don't need to go to med school, that you could get that education on YouTube.
And then we're going to hear Lemon talk about his drinking MMS, which is like completely outside the rules of this site here. I was surprised how long that was allowed to go.
No, but chemo just came in when Lemon stopped talking and fucked off.
Yeah, amazing, wasn't that?
Yeah, the timing. Funny how that happens.
Purely coincidence, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Ranty.
It's funny how
bastards can't understand elevations. Go figure.
Ranty, tell us what Globe One.
Yeah, that started was a year, 2 years ago when they went to Google Earth and figured out that the ocean on one side of the Atlantic was at 0 and the ocean at the other side of the Atlantic is at 0, therefore it's flat. I laughed my ass off at that. That was hilarious.
They just don't understand elevation profiles.
I thought they were all hot about to confirm elevations, or the same elevations are all level with each other. I thought they understood that. Apparently not.
It's funny how they use the globe model to try to debunk the globe model and still fail.
Yeah, I know. I laugh at that one. When I point to them, if you go to the home page of Google Earth, it says it's the world's most detailed globe in big letters.
Yeah, and it uses a geoid for elevation data. It's flat. Okay, it isn't though, but...
So, Ranty, what were the Globe One thugs wearing?
It's hard to figure out about that sketch.
Well, see, that's just the model, though. They're actually trying not Randy's old room, in Brandon's room. They're actually talking about building some sort of mega structure.
What chemo?
What would show this?
Or is that the Mullins force the line?
That I don't know. They had different ones. They're going to build a wall, then they're going to build 2 walls, then they're going to get like a line and stretch it and pull it. I don't know. But every time they do this, they basically figure out that, in order to prove this, you got to have some really good equipment that basically is not like a rope.
Then there was this, again, the Mullins forced the line. Somebody put up a GoFundMe. They needed 100,000. They already got like 4,000+. And I go, right on. That is exactly what I want. I want flat Earth on flat Earth crime. I want somebody to accumulate as much flat Earth money as possible and disappear. That would be best. Or to watch it take 10,000 or 15,000 and just go out and waste their time and come up with something that's absolutely meaningless because of their whole methodology. This Mullins forced the line, build a 2-mile-long fence. I mean, good God.
But from where they have the money? This is the biggest question.
Well, they don't realize that building 2 miles worth of fencing takes a fair amount of material.
Oh, the GoFundMe was targeted $100,000, which is still
$100 grand wouldn't even come close to touching it.
I know that. Everybody knows that. But it was a big enough number that if he could get $4,000, okay, so maybe the donations ended at $4 or $5,000. More power to him. he got $4,000.
Yeah.
Flat Earth Club members.
I've been asking a couple of these guys when they talk about water levels, how far they've measured with a water level. And the largest I've ever heard is 400 yards. I don't know if I believe it. Most people say, if they honestly say, they maybe say 10, 20 feet.